This woman's daughter begged to learn piano, like for weeks. So finally her mom says, okay, but I'm not buying you a real piano, it's a keyboard. Doesn't matter, it's fine, her daughter's still super hyped. So they go to Target and her mom buys her this keyboard. But there's a catch. Okay, so you want piano lessons, right? Well, here is what we're gonna do. 6 months minimum, no quitting early, and you practice 20 minutes a day. And the kid agrees. At first, it's fine. She's learning songs, she's really enjoying this. Then week 8 hits. She starts not practicing, she starts skipping. One day here, one day there. You know, she's getting more homework, school's stressful, she can't do it all. And her mom reminds her, listen, every day you don't practice, you owe me those minutes. You will make them up. Then comes the school trip. 3 days, 2 nights, her entire grade's going. She's been excited about this for months. And the mom goes, hey, so I know your trip is coming up this weekend, but you've missed 11 practice days on the piano. So before you go, you need to make up 11 hours of piano practice. The kid's like, wait, what? Yeah, if you do not make up the 11 hours, you are not going on that trip. So she has to make up 11 hours of piano practice. The thing is, the trip is like 4 days away. That's a lot of piano practice. The dad tries to step in. Hey, we already paid for the trip. This is kind of ridiculous, don't you think? Kevin, I am teaching our daughter a lesson. If you don't want to support me on this, then get out. Well, the daughter tries to make up those 11 hours, but with homework and sleep, she can't do it, and her mom forces her to stay home from the trip. That is not okay. You ever wonder why schools randomly ban like pot Cheetos or Takis? There's always a reason, and at this one school, that reason was, let's call him Marcus, the 7th grade snack kingpin. Marcus had snacks. He was running an entire operation. A backpack loaded like a frickin' vending machine. Takis, Sour Patch, mini Gatorades, all marked up 200%, and people bought them. Business was absolutely booming. And it wasn't just him in this operation. He had runners, kids in different grades moving products between different classes. He would even bring backup hoodies to school. He would change them throughout the day, so security cameras would think it's different people doing different things. He made enough money in 3 months to buy 2 pairs of brand new Jordans. Never used Venmo, only cash. But here's how he got caught. One of his runners sold Capri Sun to a diabetic kid and told him it was sugar-free, which is absolutely messed up. The kid's blood sugar spiked, the nurses got involved. The school asked him where he got it from, and this kid spilled. The entire operation crumbled. Marcus was suspended for 1 week. School banned all sorts of snacks. After that, it was like this business operation never existed. But if you went to the boys' bathroom, in stall number 3, written in small letters on the door, was the snack prices. You gotta respect the hustle. There was a kid named Ian, who was the shortest kid in elementary school. The bullies loved making fun of him. Hey, short stack, what's the weather like down there? Bruh. One night he came home and he sat at the kitchen table, and he talked to his dad. Dad, they won't leave me alone. His dad didn't tell him to ignore it. His dad didn't call the school. Ian, come with me. I want to show you something. They go downstairs and Ian realizes that this corner of the basement wasn't used for storage. There was a punching bag there, a full boxing setup, gloves, wraps, a speed bag, a heavy bag, like a mini gym in this corner of their basement. Whoa. Son, you're gonna train. You're not gonna train to hurt them. You train so you don't feel so helpless. So Ian starts practicing every day, day after day, and he's getting pretty good. Then, one day in the cafeteria, Ian's carrying his lunch. He walks past the bully's table and he tries to ignore them. One of the bullies steps up and smacks the tray into his face. Food everywhere, milk dripping down his shirt. Everybody's laughing at him. And then Ian snaps. He puts his tray down calmly, walks straight up to that bully, pops him right in the face. Then another one. Clean, quick punches. The bully's stunned. He falls down. He's like, all right, stop. All right, stop. Ian walks away. He's taken to the office and he's suspended for a whole week. But nobody messed with him ever again. He never had to use his boxing skills ever again. But he knows he has them. And if he has to use them, he will respect. It started as a joke. A single piece of gum stuck to the wall behind the gym bleachers. Hidden, tucked away. Well, one kid started adding to it. Then as a joke, he told his friends,
yo guys, donate your gum. We're building something behind the bleachers.
And every day after lunch, more and more pieces were being added to this gum blob. By October, it was the size of a shoebox. By December, it was this giant glob of pink, gray, orange, and blue colors. And it was giving off this strange but fruity smell. Kids would swing by and salute this gum blob every day after gym. It was this fun thing that everyone was kind of involved in. One day, the janitor warned him,
Hey listen, I see this abomination behind the bleachers. You better clean this up.
No.
After the threat from the janitor, he knew that time was running out, so him and his friends tried to add as much as they possibly could to it. And then, one day, he goes back there, and he sees 3 of the janitors scraping this gum blob away, and he was sad. But then, he got a great idea. He went into the garbage, where that gum was now sitting, and he cut off little pieces, and put them into Ziploc bags. He put 10 pieces of this gum blob into different bags, and he sold them. Limited edition relics. And the crazy part is, the people that were actually involved in this bought them. I guess they wanted a keepsake, a memory. He sold those chewed bag pieces for $4 each. Honestly, hey, you gotta respect the hustle. He was trying to impress a girl. Yeah, I'm freaking strong, okay? So, to try and impress her, he was gonna punch this kid that was standing right by him. Watch this. But what he didn't know is that kid was quick, and as the punch began to fly towards his face, he ducked. But that kid was standing right in front of a concrete wall. So the dude that was punching him's hand went straight into it. Ah! Oh! His wrist is completely broken. Teachers come running, a crowd gathers, and both kids were pulled aside. The dude that broke his wrist was taken to the nurse's office, and the other kid was taken to the principal's office. We don't tolerate fighting in this school. I didn't fight, he just tried to punch me. Yeah, well, he broke his wrist. Well, what did you want me to do? Not move out of the way? Yes, your face is softer than the wall. And that kid got suspended. That is not okay. This is wild. So this couple lives in an old house. Winter hits, and the mice show up. And this is pretty normal. She has a full operation to catch these mice every single year. She has mouse traps hidden everywhere. She checks them twice a day and they're constantly being reloaded. And the bait she uses? Peanut butter. The mice love it. Yeah, I love it. I love it. At first, they only had one peanut butter jar that they used. And for every trap, she would use a clean knife. So she would go in, set the trap, throw this knife into the sink, grab a new knife, take the peanut butter, set the trap, watch that one. So she's never double dipping the mice knife into the peanut butter so it doesn't get contaminated. It's too many dishes, it's too much work, but then she finds this peanut butter jar in the cabinet, the kind that her husband hates. Hey, I found this peanut butter jar in the cabinet. Do you mind if I use it for the mouse traps? Yeah, it's totally fine. She writes in the lid in big letters, mouse only. She puts it on the sides as well. It's impossible to miss. And now she was finally able to double dip the knife in the peanut butter to set the traps. So this peanut butter is now fully contaminated with like mice cooties. Well, weeks later, her husband's eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. He calmly says, you know, I really don't like creamy peanut butter. She freezes. Which jar did you use? That one. The frickin' mouse jar. That's the peanut butter I use to set the mouse traps. It is 100% contaminated. He loses his frickin' mind. I'm losing my frickin' mind right now. That's disgusting. He says she should have hidden this jar. How would he know that it was for the mice? Because I wrote mouse only all over it. She points out that he agreed to this. It was labeled, and he ignored everything. He was angry at her for weeks, but she did nothing wrong. This one is on him. One day, this strict teacher stepped into the classroom supply closet. Class, be quiet. I need to step out of the closet really fast. And this closet was pretty tight, really small. So she steps in, and this one kid sneaks up to the closet, slams the door, and locks her in it. Help me. Somebody help me. At first, everybody was silent, and then they just started laughing. And each student in that classroom left, leaving her locked in the supply closet. Now, I get that she's strict, but this is not something to do to your teacher. An hour later, another teacher heard the screams coming from this empty classroom. She goes in there. Oh my God, Mrs. Donahue, I'm dying. She let her out, and the teacher that was locked in there just collapsed, shaking, crying on the floor. After that day, she took 2 weeks off, and every single student in that classroom got into huge trouble. Good. When this kid was a toddler, his mom would keep him on a leash in the yard. She would clip it on him, and then she would tie the leash to something in the yard. And she let him play while she did the dishes. Well, one day he's sitting in the yard, and he's eating ants straight off of an anthill. just literally grabbing them and eating them like they're freaking popcorn. Well, that's when he gets curious. So he takes a handful of this anthill and starts stuffing his pockets. He's stuffing his pockets with ants so he can have a snack for later. This kid then takes the harness off of himself and begins walking towards the street. Just him, free, with a pocket full of ants. The mom sees this and goes outside to start to get him, but as he reaches the road, a van pulls up. This dude opens the van and grabs him and puts him in the van. Yeah, kid, get in, kid. There's another guy inside. There's a guy driving the van and another guy in the back seat. So now it's this dude, the kid, and the other dude sitting in the back seat. Now his mom is losing it. The car peels off. She's screaming, chasing his van. But inside the car, everything changes. The guy who grabbed them starts screaming. What? No. Get him off me! Get him off me! He's thrashing, panicking, because guess what happened? This toddler's pockets, like I said, were full of ants, and now they're everywhere in the van. This guy loses it. He just yanks open the van door and throws this kid into a ditch. Car's gone. The mom finds the kid moments later, alive, well, covered in ants, and eating them. And honestly, that's the craziest story I have ever heard. This class was visiting a local science center for a field trip, but when they all got on the bus, the teacher was like, "Wait, did anybody bring the name tags?" Miss, that's your job." Turns out this museum requires name tags, especially for field trips, and they were already on the bus. So right then and there, she pulls out a Sharpie. All right, foreheads it is, and she begins writing the kids' names on their forehead. First kid, Braden. Next kid, Leela. Then Derek. Some kids try to object. "No, I don't want this." "Well, that's too bad." She's like, "Oh, it'll wash off." It doesn't. By the time they get to the museum, every single one of the students had their own name written on their forehead, and it looked absolutely insane. The chaperones were silent, stunned. They were very embarrassed. But the museum didn't do anything. They said, "Oh, look, there's students and there's their names. Everything's fine." Well, 3 days later, kids still had ghost letters of their name on their forehead because it was permanent frickin' marker. Parents were absolutely furious. There was even kind of like a protest at the next school board. Moms were holding signs that said, "My kid is not a whiteboard." And the teacher retired early that year. Yeah, sounds like she was kind of losing it. So this guy's at a crowded park, and there's a bunch of food trucks set up. There's no tables, no benches. Everyone's just sitting and eating on this concrete wall. Well, there's only one open spot left, and he begins walking towards it. And as he gets closer to this wall, he sees this lady rushing towards it. And she's dressed pretty nice, like she just left church or something. She begins jogging, but he beats her there. He walks up to the wall, and right behind it, in the grass, is a huge pile of dog poop, right where your butt would be if you leaned back too much. So naturally, he decides not to sit down. And at that point, she storms up behind him and says,
"Seriously? I was gonna sit there."
"Go ahead, have a seat." And she sits down. And then 2 seconds later, she screams. She stands up and this dog poop is smeared all over her bag. Oh, she says to this guy,
"Why didn't you say anything to me?"
"I didn't know how you were gonna sit down. I thought you were just gonna perch on the ledge like a normal person." And she storms off, furious. But like she did try to raise him there. This teacher roasted his students. So in this 10th grade history class, the teacher has a tradition. Every Friday before the bell, he would roast one student. I'm gonna roast Steven today. Nothing too mean, just a little bit fun, like tiny little digs. "Steven, your haircut looks like your little brother did it with a lawnmower." "And your handwriting looks like a 5-year-old's. I'm just kidding around. Have a good weekend, guys. Pretty much all the kids laughed it off, but one kid, he was kind of a quiet kid, he starts a notebook, and he calls this Operation Final Bell. He passes this notebook around every week to other students in his class, and people write roasts of that teacher. One-liners, history burns, everything. By May, this notebook's absolutely packed. The last day of school comes, the bell rings, and the teacher goes, "All right, guys, one last roast for old time's sake, huh?" This kid then stands up and goes, "Yeah, but this time, we roast you." "Wait, what?" "Yeah, you walk like you're mad at the floor. Your breath smells like a cat pooped in it. You dress like you buy clothes from the clearance rack at an old lady's store. We've learned more about your midlife crisis than the subject you teach. And you look goofy in that hat." Kinda harsh, but hey, I get it. That's a good one, guy. And then everyone leaves for the summer. Hey, can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen, right? Have you ever dissected a pig heart? Well, this one biology class did. Everyone in there, goggles on, little scalpels, and there was an extra supply of pig hearts sitting on one of the counters. Well, one kid, as they were leaving, grabbed a pig heart and put it in his pocket. Then his friend grabbed a pig heart and put it in his pocket. Half the class is stuffing these cold, nasty pig hearts into their pockets, backpacks, and duffel bags. It was absolutely disgusting. Then, after school, behind the field house, a crowd gathers. There's 2 rows of kids, each of them with a pig heart in their hand. Positions, 3, 2, 1, begin. And just like that, this group of kids were playing dodgeball with biology class pig hearts that they were supposed to dissect. And it was, yeah, a mess. Pig hearts hitting kids in the face, splattering on the pavement. It was looking like a scene from a bad horror film. Eventually, the school officials came outside, saw what was going on, and each and every one of these kids were suspended for a week. I can honestly say I have never played pig heart dodgeball in my life. Would I? Maybe. This is the best senior prank of all time. So at this one high school, nobody knew what the senior prank was gonna be. Usually there's a warning or like someone's leaked it, but this year nothing. But right after second period, the school's front door opens and enters a mariachi band. 5 guys, full suits, giant instruments, and they start following the principal everywhere. It's kind of awesome. He's just walking normal, like checking things out. He's doing his job. He walks into a classroom mid-session, the band follows him in, the kids love it. By lunch, it's a full event. Kids got their phones out, they're filming him, they're following him around the hallways like a freaking parade, and the principal is eating this up. He thinks it's absolutely hilarious. And at the end of the day, the band leaves. And that was it. And nobody got in trouble because, let's be real, that was awesome. Like I said, brilliant senior prank. Oh my god, I puked in the garbage. This kid figured out that if you puked at school, they had to send you home. So one day, this kid wanted to get out of math class, so he brings a Ziploc bag to school. Well, the Ziploc bag was filled with chicken noodle soup, mashed bananas, and a splash of orange Gatorade. He walks into math class holding his stomach. Oh gosh. Then right before the math test begins, I think I'm gonna be sick. He runs to the garbage can, throws his head in there, and secretly dumps out the Ziploc bag. Oh my god, he threw up. What? Oh my god. Go to the nurse. Go home. I'm gonna call the janitor to get this garbage out of here. His Ziploc puke bag concoction looked like actual vomit. The teacher didn't want anything to do with it. His plan worked. Well, a couple days later, 3 other kids got sick, all using the exact same method. Turns out this freaking kid was selling pre-filled throw-up bags for $10 each and keeping them in his locker. Premium puke mix, $10, looks real and smells real. Step right up, step right up. He almost made $150 in a single week, but one kid kind of overdid it. Oh my god, I'm gonna puke. And threw the entire puke bag on the teacher's desk. Bro, what is this? The school caught on, a bunch of kids got in super big trouble, and this whole thing was shut down. But still, disgusting, brilliant, profitable, you gotta respect the hustle. This would happen across the school every single day. Different classrooms, different floors, but every day at exactly 12:17 p.m. Can I use the bathroom? 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 Nothing suspicious. Not really a pattern that these teachers could put together very easily because, like I said, they were each in a different classroom. But here's what nobody knew. At the far end of the school, in the quiet bathroom nobody ever uses, these kids would go and run full-blown underground Beyblade battles. Every day after they released from the classroom, they would sprint to this bathroom. And when they would get there, they would let it frickin' rip. They had a few of those classic plastic Beyblade arenas, and they were just going to town. They would put money on it as well. Come on, I got 20 bucks on this. You're totally gonna lose, bro. Milk! Doesn't that sound frickin' awesome? They had a blast. I would love this. Well, more and more people were kind of told about this, and more students began joining. And eventually, it became this kind of thing. They were caught and shut down forever. But nobody forgot about that. The random bathroom Beyblade battles at 12:17 p.m. every day. That's awesome. This girl's parents were so strict. They banned birthdays at their house. No cake, no candles, no parties. So on her 13th birthday, her friends found out. Wait, so you never had a birthday party ever? Nope, never. They were stunned. That is so messed up. You know what? Tomorrow night, we're throwing you one One of them's house was the perfect spot. A huge backyard, a pool, lights were already strung up for vibes, and they spread the word. By sundown the next day, the backyard was packed. Music blasting, kids cannonballing in the pool. The girl who was hosting the party's parents were there just to keep everyone safe, but they were just sitting back relaxing. Everyone was even chanting her name when she walked in. Marissa, Marissa, happy birthday, Marissa. And for the first time ever, she had a birthday cake with real candles in it. And right as she blew out those candles, there they were. She saw her parents walk into the backyard. Everyone got silent. What is this? Her friend stepped in. Hey, she deserves this. It's her 13th birthday. Her parents looked around and there was dozens of people just staring at them. They were uncomfortable, so they just said, all right, well, we'll pick you up here at 10, okay? 10 p.m. And they left. But still, that was the birthday that she would never, ever forget. He was 11 years old and he built the best sandcastle of all time. Yes, it's beautiful. It had walls, tower, a drawbridge. There was seaweed that was decorating it. It was pure art. Well, once he finished, he stepped back to admire it. And here comes this menacing teenager. Nice sandcastle, loser. And just kicks the crap out of it. Sandcastle completely destroyed. Yo, what the heck? The teenager left. This kid was upset, but he decided to take action. So he rebuilt, bigger, stronger, and this time he buried the heaviest, pointiest rock right in the middle of the sandcastle. Covered it perfectly. You wouldn't be able to tell it was there at all. And now this sandcastle looked even better than the first one. It's perfect. But as he suspected, the menacing teenager came by again. Oh, so you're just gonna rebuild it and think I wasn't gonna come back? The teenager pulled his leg back, he's getting ready, and he just kicks it. Remember the rock the kid buried in there? Destroyed this kid's foot. Oops, shouldn't have kicked it, man. The kid limped away, crying to his mom. Some people gotta learn the hard way. Hey, awesome. They lost him during a thunderstorm. The backyard gate swung open and their dog was gone. For weeks, they searched. They put up posters everywhere. They called different shelters. Nothing. Then one afternoon, they're driving home. Daughter sees something. Mom, that's Milo. Same golden fur, same curled tail, except a new collar. They pull over and they walk up to the door. Milo! His name's actually Charlie. He's cute though, huh? Feel free to pet him. Mom, do something. Where did you find him? Oh, we picked him up from the shelter. He was soaking wet, it was raining. We took him home. That's our dog. He was chipped. He wasn't chipped, and that's our dog. The girl kneels down. Milo, come here. See? He knows his name. Charlie, come here. But Milo didn't come. He was so happy to see his real owners. Quick, get Milo in the car. We're leaving now. Hey, wait. And they took the dog and they sped away. Honestly, I would have done the same thing. That's my freaking dog. That dude was seriously trying to keep him. That's messed up. So this kid gets yelled at for not turning in math homework. Teacher goes, "You'll never make it in the real world like this." And the kid said, "I'm not trying to make it in your world." The class laughs, the teacher's annoyed. Well, here's the thing. This kid's been working with his cousin on buying and fixing up old vending machines. They would then stock it and put it places. By senior year, he's got a handful of these vending machines. And he's pulling more money from these machines than most people make at full-time jobs. And it reminded me of this book I read, 5 Types of Wealth. It'll help you rethink how you're living your life and how you're spending your time. And what this book goes over will lead to success and happiness in multiple areas of your life. I promise. The first week of school, the vending machines in the hallway were out of order, but one student realized that they weren't broken. The school just wasn't letting anybody use them. Sorry kids, they're fixing them next month. No snacks. No snacks? Oh man. But one day, this junior named Derek saw one of the janitors unlock the machine with this tiny round key. Well, he recognized this silver key. It was the same kind of key his dad used for his padlocks at work. Well, that night, Derek dug through the junk drawers at his house, looking for these keys, and he found about 5 of them. Yes. Yes! The next day, during the passing period, he went to the vending machines. He put the first key in, and it unlocked. Apparently, it was the most basic of these keys, and it worked. He opened it up just enough to grab one snack and put it in his backpack. Well, this gave him a brilliant idea. By the end of the week, he had gone into that vending machine multiple times and only took out the most popular, most tasty snacks. And because these vending machines had been broken for so long, nobody really noticed, and there weren't any cameras in the hallway. Well, he would take these popular snacks and he would sell them for double the price of what the vending machine would have sold them for. Yo, bro, you always have the best snacks. Where do you get them? Don't worry about it, Chief. Don't worry about it. By the time the school fixed the vending machines, Derek had made a good chunk of change, and nobody ever realized that those snacks were taken. Now that is crazy, and you gotta respect the hustle. This substitute teacher had been subbing for this class a few times this year. And he's kind of an older guy. All his clothes were from JCPenney. He had a clipboard, but for some reason on this day, he was feeling a little
Feisty.
He told this 5th grader to sit down, but the kid said, "You first." The sub snapped, began saying stuff like, "You know what, back in my day, there was respect for your elders." The 5th grader then said, "Oh yeah, well what are you gonna do about it, huh? You don't wanna know." Yeah, he held a fist up like he was threatening to fight this kid. Well, the 5th grader took that as a challenge and lunged towards the teacher. And these two are actually scrapping, man. Yeah. Oh. And this whole thing was absolutely insane. This teacher, older dude but still kind of buff, was fighting with this 5th grader. And the 5th grader was winning. The entire class is going crazy. One of this kid's classmates said, "Yeah, steal his wallet, Tyrell, steal his money." That's insane. Well, one clean punch to the jaw, that teacher goes down. The room is silent. Then, starting from the back of the classroom, one clap, then another. Then the slow clap turns into a beautiful applause. Well, the celebration didn't last long because the principal came in, tried to figure out what happened. Tyrell was, suspended for sure, and that teacher was fired. Because yeah, it's not okay for a student to fight with a teacher, but this teacher kind of threatened him and egged him on and fought back. He didn't just lose his job, he lost his license. But kids in that classroom said that was the craziest day ever. Yeah, I bet. Oh man, it's raining. Wait, one fall day, school gets let out and it just starts pouring rain. Sheets of rain drenching everybody running for the buses. Well, one kid looks around and instead of running to safety, he goes to the hill behind the school. He takes his backpack off and he dives straight down the muddy hill. Yo, look at Steven. They watch Steven shoot to the bottom of the hill. He's soaked, he's covered in mud, but he's laughing. He's having an amazing time. And just like that, a crowd forms and they join him. Yo, I'm next. And suddenly half the school forgets about trying to stay dry in the rain. They all start to embrace it. They're lining up, one after the other, sliding down this muddy hill. Yo, this is so much fun. Right? People are covered in mud, their shoes are ruined, their clothes are just dirty. But for that one afternoon, nobody cared at all. It wasn't about looking cool or staying dry or getting home. It was just pouring rain, a muddy hill, and a ton of frickin' fun. And that's absolutely beautiful. So this kid, her name is Jennifer. She's 10 years old, she's super chill, she's having dinner with her parents. Her and her family are just talking about school when she casually says this. "Oh, Katie's in my class. That's my teacher's daughter." Totally normal, right? Well, her mom froze. Like fork in her mouth froze, startled, and she goes, "Wait, your teacher's daughter is in her own class?" Jennifer is confused. She's like, "Yeah, I mean, she treats her like everybody else. It's super normal." And her mom's like, "Of course, sweetie. Now go on." She smiles, nods, and sends her kid to go play Minecraft or something. Then she turns to her husband and says this. "This is a full-blown scandal." She starts talking about how this teacher's kid has unfair advantages, like secret access to test answers and stuff like that, like it's a freaking crime show. Her husband's just trying to eat, and he goes, "Are we sure this is a big deal?" Well, apparently that was the wrong move. You're not even willing to stand up for your own daughter? What do you say? And then the next morning, she wakes up and she emails the entire 5th grade team at that school, saying that this kid being in her class is incredibly unfair, and that she's gonna go to the principal, calling it a terrible case of nepotism, which is just a fancy word for playing favorites, even though there's literally no proof that this teacher is playing favorites at all. She even CC'd her husband on the email. He reads it and he's like, "Yo, you really sent that email? Are you kidding me?" She said that when her husband said that, she got so mad she left the room. Way too disrespectful. You're being a terrible father. Now, it's incredibly awkward for this entire family. The husband is not talking to his wife. He's super pissed because she's being absolutely crazy. There's nothing wrong with a teacher having her own daughter in the classroom. Like, it has nothing to do with them. Jennifer's kind of like, what is going on? She said it's been awkward for her in class as well. And this entire time, the mom is walking around like, I can't believe no one sees what's happening here. This is a scandal. No, it's not. What do you guys think? Oh, is she just on TikTok right now? I guess we can all be on our phones then. No phones in class. What? So this teacher at this one school was just done. She was tenured, bitter, and she didn't even fake it anymore. She walked in late almost every single day, never brought in her laptop, and gave students independent reading like 5 days a week. But this time, she just kind of took it a little too far. She walked in 10 minutes late, holding Starbucks, sat down at her desk and said, "I'm not really in the mood today, class, so just pretend I gave you something to do." Then she pulled out her phone and didn't even put headphones on. She just started scrolling on TikTok full volume while sipping her coffee. The whole class looked around like, wait, what are we supposed to do? But naturally, a few people pulled out their phones as well. You know, I guess it's totally fine to be on our phone today, they thought. Absolutely not. No phones allowed. I don't want to hear a sound from you guys. Silent. Do something, but be silent. They're like, you're literally watching TikToks in front of us. What the heck's your problem? That's when one kid pulled his phone back out. Not to scroll, but to record a video.
If I post myself and get, I don't care how cheap something is.
Just a quick video, her at her desk watching TikTok full volume, sipping her coffee, and the rest of the class sitting in silence. He posted it that night. Next day, 40,000 views. Somebody sent that video to the principal. The next day, the principal pulled him aside and asked him to take the video down. But instead of getting mad, he said this: "Thank you for sharing that. We're gonna use it." They're gonna use it, he says. By sixth period, the superintendent showed up at the school. He walked straight into that classroom. The principal was behind him. They asked that teacher to step out in the hallway. She never came back in. The next day, they had a sub. Good. That teacher should definitely not be teaching. No snack, no participation points. What is my birthday? This one teacher at this one school made a new rule. If your birthday falls on a school day, you have to bring a snack for the entire class. No exceptions. It didn't matter if your family couldn't afford it. It didn't matter if you forgot. If you didn't bring snacks, you would get your participation points docked for the whole week. And the teacher would call you out in front of everybody. So this one kid, Tyler, it's his birthday and it's a Tuesday. He doesn't bring anything. And the teacher just lights him up. "Oh, no snacks for your friends, huh, Tyler? How selfish are you?" The whole class is just staring at him. Tyler's just sitting there. I didn't even ask to be born. 2 days later is this girl Chloe's birthday. She felt bad for Tyler. And she came in that day and she followed the rules. Technically. She walks in with a sandwich bag full of Tic Tacs. 1 Tic Tac for each kid, individually handed out. "For my beloved classmates, I brought you all a snack. Enjoy the feast." Class is dying. People are clapping. Teacher's trying to hold it together, but you can see the vein popping in her face. Okay, I see. You're making fun of me. You think this is a joke? It's okay. The whole class just starts mocking this teacher and the rule and praising Chloe for this hilarious kind of stunt she pulled. The teacher just snaps. "Fine, you know what? Birthday snacks are canceled. Forgive me for trying to make everyone's birthday a fun time. I honestly can't believe you guys. Get over it." What a wild thing for a teacher to do. It's their birthday, yet they're getting in trouble if they don't bring snacks in. Get out of my face.
কি করবি? চেনা চেহারা না হলো কি চেহারা কথা তো বেশি চেহারা ওজন বেশি
আপনি না শুই না না দেখা সব জানা ফেলছেন বাবা।
রক্ত লাগবে রে। রক্ত? আসবো না মানে? হ্যাঁ তাই তো শুনলাম। আসবো না। ঠিক আছে দেখতেছি ব্যাপারটা যাও।
কিরে তুই কোচিং এ যাস না কেন?
দোস্ত আমি কোচিং এ কিভাবে যাব বল? এই গুন্ডাটা যে আমাকে ডিস্টার্ব করে তুই দেখতেই তো পারছস, ডেইলি আমার পিছনে লাগে থাকে।
আমার ভালোবাসার গল্পটা অপূর্ণ রয়ে গেল। গলবে পাখির মন গলবে এমন মন্ত্র দেব।
এভাবে রাস্তাঘাটে একটা মেয়েকে উত্তক্ত করে আর নিজের গায়ে রক্ত দিয়ে
এই এই দুলাভাই সামনে থাকলে যে সালাম দিতে হয় আপনি শিখাই নাই তোরা?
যে কোচিং এর সামনে যে গুন্ডাটা দাঁড়িয়ে থাকে আমার তো মনে হয় পড়াশোনা সব বন্ধ করে দিবে।
আমি তোর প্রেমের গল্প সাকসেসফুল না। আমার কথা বিশ্বাস কর। আমি শুধু একটু প্রেম ভালোবাসাতে আমি শুধু ওরেই চাই বাবা, আমি শুধু ওরে পাইলে হবে।
ওকে আমি আপনাকে ভালোবাসি। আচ্ছা আপনার কাছে একটা প্রশ্ন।
আমার তো অনেক ভয় লাগতেছে দোস্ত, এই যে আস্তে আস্তে সব মানুষ জানবে, তারপর আমার ফ্যামিলিকেও জানাই দিবে। আর আমার
বেস্ট অফ লাক ফর ডক্টরশিপ। আমি দোয়া করি তুমি যেন একজন ভালো ডক্টর হও।
কিরে মাম্মা, কই রে তুই? কতক্ষণ ধরে দাঁড়ায় থাকবো? কনসার্ট তো শুরু হয়ে যাবো।
তাইলে তো বন্ধু রীত লেগে গেল। আরে বেটা এত লাফাইস না, যেরকম শুনতেছি পরীর মতো এরকম করলে তো বেটা যা পাল্লা তো ভালো, দেখা যাক কি করে শালা। বোবা, হ্যাঁ কথা বলতে পারো না? বিয়ান সাহেব, আসসালামু আলাইকুম বিয়ান সাহেব।
এক্সকিউজ মি,
বলে দিবেন যে আমার বন্ধুর সাথে যেন ভালোভাবে প্রেম করে, নাইলে কিন্তু ঝামেলা আছে। যেদিকে তাকাই তোমায় দেখতে পাই, কিচ্ছু ভালো লাগে না। বন্ধু তুই যদি রক্ত দেস ভালো লাগে না রে দোস্ত।
না দুলা ভাই, আমি তো কোচিং এ যাই নাই, আমার তো বাসায় গেস্ট আসছে, আর আমার আম্মু তো একা, এজন্য আমি যাই না।
আমার পড়াশোনা সবকিছু বন্ধ করে দিবে, তখন আমি কি করব?
আরে ছাইরা দে।
তবে বিনটা সেকেন্ড ইয়ারে পড়ি।
সেকেন্ড ইয়ারে আমার ক্লাস 9 এর পোলাবেনও প্রেম করে। মামা মায়া তো অস্থির।
এক্সকিউজ মি আপু, এক্সকিউজ মি, আপনার নামটা যদি বলতেন একটু।
শুনেন বেন সাহেব, আমার বন্ধু জিসান, ঠিক আছে? আপনার বান্ধবীরে শুনুন। মারি নাই তো, শাসন করছি, ভালো লাগে না, একটু মারতেই পারি, তাহলে কিন্তু খুব খারাপ হয়ে যাচ্ছে। তুই রবিল নামে সুন্দর একটা রিক্সা ডাক। ভাবি চিনিকে আমার বন্ধু জিসান দিচ্ছে, প্লিজ ভাবি আপনি একটু নেন, প্লিজ ভাবি। দেখেন ভাবি ফোন তো ধরে না, আবার কল দে। এই এই দুলাভাই সামনে থাকলে যে সালাম দিতে হয়, আপনি শিখাই নাই তোরা?
যে কোচিং এর সামনে যে গুন্ডাটা দাঁড়িয়ে থাকে, আমার তো মনে হয় পড়াশোনা সব বন্ধ করে দিবে।
আমি তোর প্রেমের গল্প সাকসেসফুল না, আমার কথা বিশ্বাস কর। আমি শুধু একটু প্রেম ভালোবাসা চাই, আমি শুধু ওরেই চাই বাবা, আমি শুধু ওরে পাইলে হবে।
ওকে, আমি আপনাকে ভালোবাসি। আচ্ছা, আপনার কাছে একটা প্রশ্ন,